Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Defcamp here, and welcome to another episode of DefTalk, the talk show that focuses on everything World of Warcraft, whether it's classic, retail, or the players that play it. We have with us Schmelderon. Hello,
Hello
Schmelderon.
there, everyone.
How you
Smelderon
doing?
here.
And
And
Trust here, I guess.
Trust TV. What's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. And you guys?
We're doing great. We're
Doing well. Thanks for
coming
being
off
here.
of a binge playing on the new server.
Oh
so
God, yeah, me too.
With the
So,
Northdale?
yeah, on Northdale.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're having a lot of fun there. Melderon is he's playing a shaman,
Of course.
but yeah, no. It's pretty fun. It's pretty fun. The populations have been a little bit crazy, so have the respawn timers, but it's pretty fun.
It's been fun, yeah, definitely.
So let's do a little introduction about who you are, how you started playing WoW. So first question I like to talk and ask people is when and how were you introduced to World of Warcraft?
I was introduced actually through a group of my friends. We were coming from the Warcraft 3 and StarCraft crowd, I guess you would say. Ever since I've been playing games, just even when I was very, very young. I remember playing when Warcraft 1 came out. I remember Warcraft 2 and Warcraft 3. I played all those games. I loved them. And moved on to StarCraft. I stayed on StarCraft for quite a while. Played probably like 7,000 games on there.
Wow.
So I played a lot of StarCraft. So yeah, that game, I don't know. I loved it.
I
So
love StarCraft
anyways,
too,
yeah, I don't know. To me at that time for a while it was like the most balanced game I thought,
Mm-hmm.
even though years later people don't seem to agree, but it's okay.
Well, I mean, if you're Zerg,
Um,
you have a little bit of an advantage. I'm just joking. Just joking.
yeah.
Terran's too strong,
I
apparently.
love Terran, dude. Terran's
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's like the strongest if you know what you're doing, but if you kind of are then no, it's
Yeah.
not
Yeah,
it.
I was definitely yeah.
So after that was going down, I was just we hear about, WoW. And the thing is back then is there wasn't too much coverage because the internet and all that stuff was still kind of getting a few years into it. I mean,
Yeah.
Blizzard wasn't too out there with all their news, so we're sitting here, we hear about WoW, we're like, what is this? And all we have is like Warcraft 3 to come off of, and we're like, what is this game going to be like? Because I never played like EverQuest or Ultima Online or anything like that. So I'm just like, this is going to be like Warcraft 3 with better graphics? I mean, is that what it's going to be like? And we're like, dude, I mean, we played like already so many games of StarCraft. We're like, man, we're looking for something new here. I've never played an MMO. I don't even know what it was about.
I have
And
no idea what to expect
yeah,
basically.
at all. And he's just like, yeah, all right, let's try it. So we ordered it, and apparently, I guess it was the signing. He told me, one of my buddies told me about it, um, which is the trip in itself too, because the way how I met this guy was random. Like, I've never been to a LAN cafe in my life at that point. And the one time I decided to ditch going to college, I ditched. I was like, you know what, fuck it. I don't feel good. I'm just gonna go to this LAN center. I've never been here before. I've always seen it. But I went over there and I started playing a game. He's on my friends list. And I'm sitting here and I'm just joining a game. And I look over because I'm waiting for the game. I'm like, what the fuck? I was like, looked at my screen, looked at his. And I'm like, dude, is that you? I was like, no, there's no way it's
That's
you.
incredible.
He's like, what?
Wow.
He's like, what the hell, man? He's like, what are you doing here? He's like, I live here. Well, I live here too. Like, it was just so random that as big as this world is, it made it feel so small because I never told him to meet up. I never told him anything like that.
That's crazy,
And
dude.
yeah, I met him just randomly like that. And then he was the one that ended up saying, hey, I heard that there was a signing for WoW for the first copy.
Oh,
Do you just want to go ahead and do that? Because I remember when we would buy like new games, you go to like GameStop.
yeah.
Usually the line is like 5, 6 people, 7 people. So we're like, all
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
cool. We're like, all right, we'll go there, whatever. And we started going there. I think it started at like, I want to say like 10 o'clock or maybe 9. And we start driving, going to the freeway, end up getting close to it. It was at a Fry's Electronics. And the Fry's Electronics is like, it almost has like a parking lot. Have you ever been to a Costco or something like
Yeah.
that?
Absolutely, yeah.
It's got, yeah, the parking lot is kind of like a Costco parking lot, and it's big. So we go over there, and as we're driving, we see the whole parking lot was full. And we're like, okay. And we're like, all right, maybe there's a lot of people, maybe it's just a busy day. And then as we start rolling in a little bit, we started seeing so many people. It was like at least easy 1,000 people. We're like, what the
Wow.
hell? We're like, what is this? And the line just wrapped all the way around Fry's, and not only to wrap around Fry's, but it went all the way through the parking lot, like to the start of the parking lot to the end, through at least 3 rows of
Oh my
people.
God.
So
And
we're
this
like,
is just
oh
for
my,
WoW's launch.
yeah, this is for WoW's launch. So we're like, oh my God, like, do you want to sit in line for this? And I was like, well, we're already here. I mean, we live like 10
Yeah, might
minutes
as well.
away.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, whatever, we can talk and chit chat, whatever. So then we ended up we ended up parking at the far back. I was like, whatever. And we start talking, and hours go by, and they said it was going to close at around like 12:30. 12 o'clock comes by, and we're like, dude, we're not even making it. We're like, we're just barely getting to the front of the store.
Oh my God.
So we finally went through the 3 loops, and then we hit the front. We're like, yes, time to go in. Then we're like, no, we saw the line wrapped around it from there. We're like, oh, we're not even close, man.
God.
And then Blizzard ended up saying that they were going to, start, closing down the signing and stuff. And you can just imagine like 1,000 people being like, no.
Yeah, dude, I would
Everybody's
have been so
screaming
mad.
that. Yeah, they're
Oh my
all
God.
screaming like that. And then finally, I guess like 5-10 minutes later, Blizzard just walked out and like, okay, we'll do sign-ins for another hour and a half.
What?
So they did. More sign-ins, kept on going, and then we went to the back of the store, finally making headway, but this is like 1:30 in the morning. And then finally, there's this one guy that comes out. It was there's this little Toyota Tacoma, old like 1990s one. And there's this nerd guy. I guess I would be considered a nerd now, but back then it was like kind of put me off. I didn't feel like I was a nerd back then. I was like, I felt kind of uncomfortable. Like, shit, man, what am I doing here? So this truck goes over. He's driving past all these people, and this guy throws his copy of WoW in the air, and he says, "I'll see all you bitches in Azeroth." And we're like,
That's
what
awesome.
the hell? We're like, what the hell? And then right as the truck was still going kind of pretty fast, it went over a speed bump, and the guy fell out of the back end of the truck because he was sitting in the back end of this truck, and he fell back, and he just heard this clunk. And I could have sworn he could have broke his neck. He could have broke his neck. He fell down, and then he just heard 1,000 people calling him all kinds of names, laughing at him and everything. And we're like, wow, dude, this guy just made our night, man. This guy's an
See you in
idiot.
Azeroth. Oh,
Yeah. So he ate it pretty hard, and we just started laughing. And then finally, after that happened, everybody was talking about it for like the next half hour. And then Blizzard was just like, all right, we're just going to keep doing this until we're done.
Wow.
Good for them.
So yeah, good for that.
Good
I mean,
old
for us,
Blizzard
we're like
back in the
hell
day.
yeah. Yeah, they didn't know. And when we finally got in there, again, I thought it was kind of weird because then, they're actually like signing mouse pads and stuff. Like, what the heck? It's like, I don't want you signing my mouse pad
Who
at
are
that
these
time.
people? Yeah.
Yeah, like at that time, I don't want you signing my mouse pad. What the heck, man? What are you, famous or something?
Well, they had no idea it was
Yeah.
going to be that big.
Yeah,
Like,
I know.
nobody did. Like,
That's what was crazy. So that all happened. That went down. And then we're like, all right, after we got our signed copy and stuff, we're all tired. Like, fuck it. Let's go. Let's go.
play some WoW.
So we go. We're like, all right, we'll see each other online. We get online and stuff, and of course, yeah, it was a little laggy. But what people I think don't realize is even though almost a lot of the videos that I've seen when people talk about like the WoW release being very laggy, a lot of people didn't care.
Mhm.
At least on Gorfine, at least on my server, a lot of them did not care or I didn't, because this is the first type of game that was ever like this. So for us, we were just like, oh my God, like this is awesome. This is incredible. We're like, yeah, it lags and stuff, but man, we've never seen anything like this before.
Right.
So we're all in awe and we're all happy and stuff and playing, and the story doesn't stop there either. I mean, oh man, this is back when I didn't even know what PvE and PvP meant.
Right.
Or
I
Of
mean,
course,
yeah,
yeah, we didn't
it's-
either.
yeah. I didn't know any of that, and I made my first mistake. And my first mistake, honestly, was rolling on a PvE server. So I rolled on a PvE server with with a group of friends, about 5 or 6 of us.
what was your first class?
It was a dwarf male paladin.
Okay. Cool.
So yeah, when they turned around, they had like the seal of command looked like he was doing like a helicopter spin or whatever. It was pretty awesome, actually.
Yeah.
It was pretty badass. And then at that time, when I made the character too, I ended up, because I hate making names. So I was like, man, I'm making, I'm playing WoW. I have to make a name. What am I doing right now? I'm eating Captain Crunch. So guess what? His name was Captain Crunch.
Wow.
So
That's
they
awesome.
allowed that name. They allowed that name for at least until I think level like 15 or 16, and then they forced me to change my name.
Yeah.
But apparently, my friend that had a name called Luck Charms, he was fine. So whatever. I was
Yeah,
like,
as long as the Y wasn't in there, then I guess it's
Yeah,
okay.
right.
yeah. So he got lucky on that one, and then we finally hit wetlands. Got to wetlands and started questing. And also another thing, when people say about people grinding mobs and stuff, people have to also realize there were also too many people that were in the starting zones, where it wasn't smart to try to tag mobs back then. You just pick a corner, grind it out, and then get ahead of the pack while you do that, and then you can quest. But at that time, there was too much walking around, so it's like I sat there and I'm like, man, by the time I do this kill quest and I'm walking there and back, I could have killed like 20 raptors.
Yeah.
So what's the point? I might as well just keep on killing raptors over and over
Yeah,
and
so
over.
was there dynamic respawn back then, or was it just the standard respawn rates?
What do you mean dynamic?
So basically, were the respawn rates when you killed them, did they come back faster because there were so many people online? Okay,
No,
right.
no.
Jesus.
I didn't
Yeah.
notice. I mean, I
Yeah,
wouldn't notice.
I don't
but
think
I
they
don't
had
think
that.
they
I don't
did
think they did
that,
that back
yeah.
then. I'm
it
pretty
was
sure
like
they did.
basically when I did like a full circle when I killed like 10 raptors. By the time I killed the 10th raptor, the first one was just spawning. Kind of. You do like
Okay.
a loop.
Yeah.
You find like a loop.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
It
about
wasn't
normal,
like
yeah.
super fast.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, I ended up going to wetlands, and then finally I was doing my quest, and then I was getting spit on. I'm like, what is this? And this is orc, right? This orc comes over here and he's spamming spit, and I'm like, what the hell? I was like, can I attack this guy? I'm a dwarf. I'm a alliance. This guy's horde. Why can't I hit him? And so I sit there and I start typing in general. I'm like, dude, why can't I hit this guy? He's like, oh, well, he has to flag himself. I'm like, what do you mean flag himself? What does flag himself mean? I'm like, oh, well, he has to type PvP/PvP and he's ready. It's like, what kind of game is this? I mean, I was like, isn't there like something I could just attack somebody? Like, yeah, bro. Like, yeah, bro, just roll on a PvP server. I was like, yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. So that's not. I told my buddy because he was at work at that time. Like, dude, I don't know about you, but I'm rolling on PvP server because I can't stand this. I mean, I can't stand that. Your opposite faction, you can't kill them. You can't even. Not just the fact that you can't kill them, but you can't even hit them. So even if you're frustrated, you can't even do anything about it unless they're ready for it. I mean, come on.
I
So
can
thought
never
that was
play
kind
on
of
the PvE realm.
Yeah, I mean, it's
It's
a war.
just-
It's supposed to be a war, right? I mean, that's the thing. It's supposed to be a war. You're
Yeah.
supposed to be ready for it at all times. So.
I could see as the reason as to why people do.
Oh, sure.
But,
I completely understand it, but it's just not for me.
But not on launch though. I think when launch happens that's where you have the most world PvP fun overall because
Dude.
everyone is on the same level. You're not going to be having people with like tier 1, tier 2 coming over there and just mopping you up. I mean, you're like the same level, maybe one level lower, 2 levels.
Yep.
Maybe the guy at the head of the pack, he's not really worried about that. He's trying to get ahead. He's trying to level first.
Trust.
So,
And let me tell you, last night we we're in Tips Out, his guild on Northdale, and we got about 80 people together from level 15 to like 22, right?
yeah.
And we raided Menethil Harbor. Right?
Yeah.
We went there. We actually got inside, and it was amazing. And then we went to Red Ridge. You should have seen it. There was about 300 Alliance on the top of this hill, and like 80 of us Horde, and we tried charging in there. And it was just like I've had some pretty epic PvP moments, but that was just so cool. Like you said, everyone's on par with each other. You don't have to worry about any 60s coming. Nobody's going to come and just.
No one's going to bring their main and just destroy everybody. Yeah, that's when it kind of gets kind of unfun at that point.
Yeah.
But yeah, I see what you're saying. I mean, that's what it was. That's what made it fun. But honestly, I think when Classic comes out again, or WoW Vanilla, I think it's going to be like kind of Classic on steroids. Because I think there's going to be people that played back then that are going to be like, dude, it was so brutal back then, the PvP. So you're going to have the people that are going to be like, man, I'm really just going to just gank people. That's all I'm going to do. I'm just going to gank people. I'm not even going to level, man. I'm just going to gank. So they're going to have a bunch of people that are going to be rolling around ganking people to give you that feeling of, try to almost like an over exaggeration. Even though there was a lot, depending on your server, there was a lot of PvP. But I think that people are gonna kind of overkill it a little bit.
Yeah,
But
I can see that.
overkilling it's fine though. I mean, I
That
think
is
it's
fine.
fine.
Yeah, I can see that happening even more so on like servers where specific streamers will be like Asmongold, like the big streamers. I could
Yeah.
see that being pretty bad over there. But I think again, it depends a lot on the server. You get to a really healthy server, and that could be a total different change. So
I agree. Yeah.
But not really. I think Asmongold, if he really wanted to, he could roll on a PvP server.
oh yeah, no, he's planning. I think he's planning on
I
it.
No,
think
he
he
said
is.
PvE.
Oh,
He
he
Oh,
said
is.
he
PvE.
is.
Yeah.
Unless he
Oh,
changed his
okay.
mind, he said PvE.
I
But I
think
mean,
yeah,
if he was really worried about that, he could just get to like a certain level and just dungeon grind. I mean,
yeah,
dungeon
that
grind,
too.
chill. You can chill then. You can chill, talk about the game and whatever, and you can get around it, and then you're max level or whatever, and then you're fine.
Yeah,
Whatever.
True. Or
I
if he
mean,
forms a guild and has like bodyguards. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people would be up for that. You know what I mean?
yeah, but certain people like you're gonna have like guilds that are made just to go and find him.
but the thing is too is that not only if you have like a bunch of people, unless they're like outside of his party, I mean they can. He just gets if they're in his party, he's gonna get less experience.
Yeah,
So yeah, I mean, I just think that he just either you do or you don't, Just
yeah, it's kind
I
of
guess
like
that's what happens when you get fame,
yeah,
Fuck it.
right. You kind of
Yeah.
lose.
You got to deal
You
with
kind
that,
of
I
lose that
guess.
on something, right? Yeah.
That's the paparazzi coming after you, man.
That's why I don't
Yep,
stream, man.
exactly.
That's why I don't stream.
He's like, I stream after I'm 60, man. Leave me
Exactly.
alone.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's really
Yeah.
funny. So I just want to say before we jump any further that Trust, you have a YouTube channel. It's
Yeah.
pretty new, and what
It's
you focus on storytelling. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of. I mean, I wouldn't say it's like anything like your guys' type of stuff. Honestly, I only made those videos because I've seen certain YouTubers that have made comments about Classic, which I feel is either it deviates from their no changes type of thing or whatever that they're talking about, and I feel like it's a little bit off mark that I remember.
Mm.
So, like, well, I could talk about that a little later, but I mean, man, like if you sit there and you talk about the newest thing that Blizzard came out with
Yeah. Let's talk about that. Yeah. What are your
the
thoughts on that?
the 112, honestly, I
Yeah.
don't see as. What do you guys think? Do you guys think it's changes or no changes?
Since it's an endemic change, so since it's happened in the vanilla timeline, for me it's not a change. But we both wanted a 1.1 progression. We both thought that would be the most fun,
Yeah.
and perhaps
Or
the
even
most
a 1.2. I've heard one. Yeah, well, yeah, but that's
yeah. But
Marta?
as long as something doesn't come in from another expansion, to me that's a no change. So it's still
but
no
they are
changes.
having Battle.net integration.
No, I
Right?
feel that
That's a
Blizzard
necessary
kinda
evil
messed
though.
up.
That's a totally different. That's a coding issue. So they have to
Yeah.
have balance. Now, if they implement cross faction collaboration, that's a change.
Right. I don't think they will, but yeah.
I don't think so either. But go ahead, Trust. What are your thoughts on? Do you think
I
it's a
think
change?
I think they messed up. That's what I think.
Okay.
Even though a lot of people that are classic WoW, like people that talk about classic WoW, are really really happy.
Yeah.
I think that Blizzard, man, I mean, yeah, it would take longer if they were to start from 1.1, but they're the only ones I think that could do it.
Yep. That was
That's
our
true.
It's
that was
like,
our point. Yeah.
why
that-
would you want to be on the same par as a private server at that
exactly?
point?
How not better to differentiate yourselves? Make it. And you know what? For us too, Trust. Like we didn't get to play in those early days. Like that was our hope to be able to try to experience that as much as we could in a way. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I know a lot of people are used to the 1.12, and I think that was why they wanted to see it is because they're used to it. They did it on private servers. It's comfortable to them, right? Humans want to be comfortable, and it's normal. But when you really look at it and you see, wow, how could this be different? How could we make classic better in a way? And I really think I've heard people even say a 1.2 start would have been better, but 1.1, 1.2,
1.2 is Mardon, right?
yeah, Mardon.
Yeah, Mardon would have been
1.2,
fine.
1.3. Yeah, I forget
Yeah.
which one is
Mardon
Yeah.
would have been fine because I mean it wouldn't matter. As the big thing was, you had the items from like that has nature resistance. That's not till like E40, which is
Yeah.
a while, anyways.
Exactly.
But
And I would have
yeah.
liked to see you start without BGs right at the beginning too. I would have liked.
Oh
to see
no, that's definitely what you should want.
That
Yeah.
still may happen though. That still may happen.
True.
But now the whole thing is now. I think for me, when they did that, it's Now you're going to invoke, okay, what are they going to do? Are they just going to do talents and stuff? And it's 1.12? Because you have to understand, like, when you're playing back then, I mean, yeah, there were certain classes that were kind of imbalanced, but they were strong in another sense. Like,
Exactly.
when you go to a raid, like, you hear other people like, oh, you don't understand, man. You got to have 1.12 because no classes, everyone's just going to play melee. Well, you know what? Guess what? When BWL came out, there's a lot of guilds that decided they wanted to roll with warriors.
Yeah.
A lot of them did warriors because why? Because the boss starts at low HP. You can start executing and make the boss easier. Melee heavy. Now, the thing is that, yeah, as a PvEer, if you're just nothing but a PvEer, then sure. I mean, that's, I guess it's not fair if, you 1.1.
Right.
But
It's
if you had 1.1, you have like, okay, for instance, if you had a raid that was heavy, like warriors, rogues, then you start having like, when you do BGs, you have the casters, the warlocks, you have hunters, shadow priests, mages. Mages were a pain. They were a pain to melee, big time. And it's like another thing I liked about vanilla WoW, especially when it came to PvP, is that there were items that were like level 30, 40 that just completely were game changers back then. Like you see people go, oh man, if you do like 1.1, you're going to be sheep forever, man. It's like, this is so unfair. Well, guess what? If you did your questing and you got the Skull of Impending Doom, they can't do that.
Exactly.
But then again, a lot of people back then, they didn't really share that information as much because you had that leg up on other people.
Sure. Yeah.
So there were a lot of different things. Like if you were like a rogue, if you were a dwarf rogue, you had a leg up on warriors.
Oh, yeah.
Because the bleeds. You had the bleeds, and if you wanted to reset, you just stun them or whatever. You blind them, then you stone form vanish.
Too.
Yeah, stone form vanish. Because you'd always want to put like a 1-point rupture on that rogue or on just so that they can't vanish. So if you weren't a dwarf rogue, what would you get? You would get a loofah. I don't know if you guys ever used that.
Jungle remedy. For the diseases and poisons,
No, for the bleed though.
For the bleed, you use a loofah.
The loofah. The loofah. That's what you would use. Just little things like that that are not really, they're not really there in the game anymore. It's just,
no, they're not.
It just seems like it's a little more mainstreamed and plain, and I don't know.
I honestly think the team wanted to do a 1.1 progressive launch. I think the issue is there's a profit to work matrix that they have to think, and they think how much work versus how much profit, and I think that they just went with the safer bet. I'm not saying that I agree with that. I just think from a business standpoint, that's why they did it.
Why didn't they they should have asked the community to
I 100% agree with you.
They would want to, like, I would pay for it. I mean, what do people expect? They're going to be, oh man, I want it for free, or I want it for.
Well, I've seen the community has not always come as a good thing in the past as well. So because there's not going to everyone's going to be thinking like mine.
I mean, we agree with you. 1.1 is the way to go. We were really hoping for that. One, from a selfish reason because we never experienced it, and two, we wanted. And I think what's going to happen is if they're going to launch with 1.12 talents and itemization, that's a big thing.
Itemization's huge.
Yeah, I think they're going to buff MC, and that's a change. If they buff MC and BWL, that's a change.
Yeah. That's a massive change.
I don't think they're going to buff it, honestly. I mean, I don't know.
They have to. If they don't, it's going to be a complete face.
I know, it is. And that's why, that's, again, so much why I wanted to see a 1.1 start. Because, when everyone says, oh, it's a face roll, it's also, okay, MC is an easy raid. Easier than a lot of other raids. But, you look at it from a 1.1 start, I'm sure when you did it, it was much more difficult than
it was a little bit different.
Doing it on 1.12, and people have been doing it with 1.12 talents over and over and over again on private servers. It's going to be a face roll to those people when, Classic comes out. If it's a 1.12 talents and a 1.12 item progression. But that's why I was saying having that 1.1 start, man, would make MC a totally different game for a lot of people.
I think it would make a totally different game for those that are in the middle. People that are in the middle, family-oriented guilds, they would start feeling it more. Because, I mean, you're obviously going to – it's like nowadays it's different because, like, when I was doing MC when the whole raid had to go into BRD. Like, I started early. Like, for me, when I started playing – another thing that I don't like that I keep on hearing is that people say that, people are like, people that played back then, they're keyboard turners and stuff. Dude, we used to make fun of people that keyboard turn, even in vanilla. Yeah. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Oh, yeah, keyboard turning. What is that? Like, people just start laughing. The only thing that was different, honestly, I think, is the more integration. of people knowing how to do macros and more binds. That's the only. I mean, binds is pretty big,
Yeah.
but it
Well, I
was
mean, I
the
started
learning
off
of
clicking,
macros and
yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
briefly,
big time.
before we
Oh,
jump
you start
into
off clicking?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, so did I. We both
Really?
did.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
we had no idea. We actually, I think I didn't know how to even keybind when I first started playing. To be honest with you, because I
Yeah.
came from, I never played MMO before this, and I think you didn't either. But
Yeah.
I wasn't even keybinding in like RTSs, which I should have been doing. I definitely should have been
Oh,
doing,
you
but I
have
wasn't
to
doing it.
StarCraft for
Yeah.
sure. You have to.
Which is sad. But looking back at it
Eh,
now, it's kind of
Yeah.
sad. But everyone starts somewhere, I think, and that's
Not really. It's not that
yeah.
sad. It just depends on how you play the game.
That
If you want
too.
to play the game,
Yeah.
if you want to be above, if you want to try to be above the bar and be above average, then you would do it. But
Yeah.
it's just like when I started playing. I mean, I didn't know much about the game, but the thing was though, you learned a lot from dueling people. You would duel like
Yes.
outside of Ironforge and
Yep.
stuff. Out there, you would duel for hours and hours and
And
hours,
just talk.
and you would not only talk, but you would learn. You would spend the gold. You would farm. You would respec. You would find your perfect spec. Like
Yeah.
people seem to think like back then, like people didn't know what they were doing, and it's just like, I mean, yeah, at the very beginning, like when they started figuring things out, but give it about a month, people had their stuff that was pretty legit.
Mhm.
I mean, the people that knew what they were doing, people that actually were on top of it, they knew what they were doing. It's like just like how it is today. That's how I feel.
Yeah.
But I guess people they just assume that that's not the case.
Well, I think that goes to show the importance of the socialization in the game, because just going out there when you do things by yourself, you kind of are punished for it in WoW, because you don't get the information from other people and you really don't see what's going on, right? Because my main thing, like when I started PvPing as a rogue, like I didn't know that much at all. Like you said, going outside for me it was Stormwind or Ironforge. Going outside, dueling, you learn a lot just by say I dueled a druid, and and I messed up my opener. They might come out and say, oh, try this next time, or do this or do that. You meet hopefully people that aren't just going to say GG scrub or something like that, and people that
Well, they
actually
would say
give
that
you
too. They would say that because people would talk
Yeah.
crap. But I mean,
Yeah, of course,
the thing
yeah,
is
you're
that
always
you can also learn from looking at, like, you just look at other people. You look at like
Yeah.
another paladin that plays, and he beats the guy that you lost against. You're like,
Right.
whoa, what did you do?
How
What
did
did
you
he
do
do
that?
differently?
Yeah, what is
Yeah.
your spec? And then you start learning the specs and stuff, and you just learn from there on out. It's
And
just,
that's you couldn't just inspect someone's spec back then. You had to ask them. That was the
yeah.
difference too. So that made a huge difference.
Yeah, absolutely. Unless you had an add-on, of course. But so I want to transition. I want to transition to something that's really, really important. I want to talk about. But before we do that, what did you think about after the water cooler? They talked about the old graphics and animations. Do you think that's 100% happening, or do you think that may be a toggle, or what do you think about that news?
I think it'll be a toggle.
Okay.
Honestly, I think you know what I think Blizzard should do. I think if they're going to do a toggle, they should do a toggle after you hit level 60, at least.
Yeah.
So at least you can. So you have to go through the original experience, at least hitting 60, and then once you hit 60, then you can unlock a chance to do the toggle. Because they work for StarCraft. Like, even though StarCraft, you guys mentioned it'd be different, but honestly, after playing that game for so long, and then you play StarCraft and you did the revamped graphics, I would say about 95% of it was great. But there were certain characters that just, when they had those new graphics, they didn't look the same. We're like, really? I mean, this guy that this dude used to look pretty nice before, and now he doesn't look that so great anymore. But for the most part, it did look better. I mean, it did look
Right.
better, but I could see people that were like, dude, this is not that cool.
Yeah. See, the issue that I have is, like, we have the new characters and models they would probably use, and that's in retail. And
Well, no, not that.
For classic.
Yeah, for classic. But I mean,
Yeah.
for like StarCraft, it was kind of all the same. The only thing
Right.
that was different was the look of the characters. Like
Right.
the model and how which they moved and stuff was the same. It just, looking at them in a HD perspective, it just was off. It was off-putting.
Right.
It did not. People were like, "Can I put Zerg back on like old graphics? Because
Yeah.
this doesn't look right." And it was
Yeah.
mostly Zerg that didn't look good. And then
Right.
it was like the Zealot for Protoss or whatever.
Right.
But the rest of them they look good.
And what I meant by that is saying, like the models that we see in classic, you can obviously see if they were going to improve them, you would see what they would probably use is what they have in
Yeah.
retail. And like, I hate the way the Tarns look, hate the way undead look, hate the way humans look.
I hate everything on the
I
new
pretty much
stuff.
hate everything.
all
Yeah.
this.
It's like when you're done casting something like a heal, it's like your character's like has their hands like he's on a
Yeah, they're
stance
like,
looking
what is
forward.
that?
Like, really? What is that crap? Like, that's
So
ridiculous.
dumb. Yeah, I don't understand what that
And
is.
then
I mean,
when they're
getting ready to take a
Yeah.
shit,
when most of them are like running, they look like they have like a stick up their ass or
Yes!
something.
yeah.
Like,
Yes,
what's going
thank you.
on?
especially like the what's it the
Crazy.
orcs in the
oh, the orcs, yeah.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
I mean, I'll give him this: the aesthetics are beautiful, with the water and the sky and everything.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
But the animations and character models are just complete shit. I'm sorry, they are. I mean, that's
You know, one thing that just drew me off completely that I was just like, what's going on? Was the paladin heal. The sound of the paladin heal, they turned it into the priest heal.
Yeah.
If you haven't noticed.
oh interesting.
Like for me, playing the original WoW or back then and even BC and Wrath and all that, just knowing that the Holy Paladin or just the Paladin heal itself has that distinct heal sound.
Yeah.
And then now it's gone. It's like, I'm like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
I mean, this is starting to, I don't like this.
I know. It just goes to show that it's like everything, I don't know, homogenization, friggin', I don't know.
Yeah.
But like, and that's the thing that a lot of us see, because like we can see the changes that have happened, and that's why a lot of us, when we're like say that we're no changes, and we point to, oh, well, why? Well, look, we have the evidence of like what happened throughout the course of WoW's history. Yeah, a lot of those changes when we were back there saying, oh, this makes sense. This might be good, but then you see what happens because of it, and you're like, wow, that obviously ruined this aspect of the game. So it's really safe to say, like, just don't mess with anything at all. Just leave it the way it is. It's okay the way it is, that kind of thing. But we did talk a little bit about, I wanted to get back. We talked a little bit about your characters. Now, after you started playing, let's talk about what was the character that you made when you started playing? I think you said when
On
you
the
switched
PvP
servers to
server.
PvP.
Yeah.
The PvP, I made the Dwarf Male Paladin.
Okay.
I made the Dwarf Male Paladin, and it was fun. I mean, like I said, you just level as like Rhett, and you do like a little helicopter spin. I just laughed every time I just saw that.
Yeah.
Especially when you kill somebody, you're killing like orcs and stuff, and it just looks ridiculous, but it's funny and it looks good though. And I ended up at that time when we got to 60, Holy Paladins wasn't. It's like they didn't know where Holy was because the itemization was so off. Like it was like. They had healing. Their spec was healing, but then it was like they didn't get much intel gear, and we're just sitting there, and I'm like, "What's going on?"
Were not that great in the beginning.
No. I'm talking before that. I'm talking like dungeon. I'm talking like 10-man strat and 15-man UBRS.
Right.
Like this is like in the very beginning. Like people were just like they didn't know what paladins basically were meant to do. Like you do ret and whatever, but they're like, "Okay, are you support healer?" And I was like, "All right." I was like, "Okay, well." It seems like I can wear cloth, and it seems like I was known on my server, back then in the very beginning for having wild heart shoulders for my paladin. So I was like, because I thought it had, I think it had the most intel at the time, and I ended up using it, and I just started healing with him and stuff. But then once I got my mana bar a lot bigger because I was wearing cloth, mail, leather. Then I'm like, okay, now I can start solo healing like the strat and all this stuff, and it was perfect almost.
Right.
It was starting to be good, and then people were like, okay, well now we can start. It seemed like as word kept on going around, and other people were doing the same thing as me. They're just like, okay, well maybe it's that's what they do. So we started doing that, and I ended up playing my paladin through MC.
Oh, nice.
And I was like, you see like Lawbringer and stuff. I was like, yeah, Usually people were happy, like, yeah, I see my tier. This is the stuff, man. This is the business.
Yeah.
Finally, I got like a set, and then you look at the set, you're like, damn, that sucks.
Yeah,
it doesn't look good, man.
Where's the
why does the dresses and the freaking, the cloth stuff, have a bunch of like better stuff, man? Why is it more healing and mine is more nothing?
Yeah.
So I dealt with that. I was like, whatever, I'll just ride it through. I ended up doing that, and then once BWL came, I was like, all right, man, I'm getting tired of wearing dresses and shit as a male dwarf. So I was like, all right, if I'm gonna be wearing dresses and stuff, I'm just gonna be a priest.
There you
And then
go.
to me,
Yeah.
I was like, all right, I'm gonna be a priest. And for me, for some odd reason, when I thought of priest, I didn't see myself. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna be like the Pope, man. I was like, nah, I'm gonna be wearing dresses and stuff. I mean, you might as well just roll a freaking female character. And a lot of people were like, oh, that's man. And I was like, yeah, whatever, dude. I'm not gonna be sitting there and putting like, Shelly or Michelle, Stacey. It's like, no, dude, like, come on, man, get out of here with that. But anyways,
Just
I
name your
see a lot
guy.
of
I'm a
people.
dude.
But
Just
it's
name
just
your
to
guy.
me,
I'm a dude.
I'm a
Everyone will
dude.
know. Yeah.
But yeah, I was actually a lot of people that did that. Not I'm a dude, but they actually made those names. And so I'm like, what are you
Yeah.
doing, man? But whatever. That was my reasoning for making my priest, and actually, I think it was the best thing I ever did because priests actually throughout vanilla, and I think even through BC and Wrath, they always did pretty well.
Yes.
They were the most versatile.
Yep.
They were beasts.
Mm-hmm.
They were absolute beasts.
Dude. Absolutely.
So I made a
yeah.
choice on that one.
So there's something really interesting I'd like to get into now that you've created your priest. Now you've re-rolled, and let's just briefly talk about your rise to 60, and then your rise as Grand Marshal, as a healer. So let's talk about that.
Yes.
Well, my rise to going from 60 was pretty easy. I mean, as a healer back then, especially as a priest healer, it was pretty easy to find groups. Everything I did, I just formed a group for, and
Did you level
I don't
holy?
remember too much. Yes, I did.
Nice.
I leveled this holy. You just say healing priest looking to quest or whatever, and then some people, oh, okay, yeah, whatever, because they have a chance to not get ganked. You just heal them. So, and also back then when you had when you leveled at the beginning, like when I was leveling with my friends, you'd be in the same party, but you would not be in the same area. So, for instance, if it looked like you got ganked, like if you're playing and you see like a cheap shot icon on his thing, then you're like, okay, maybe I should go look on the map, find out where he's at, and help him out.
Yep.
So that's what we did, or a majority of people did, anyhow. But anyways, yeah, you could find groups fairly simple, fairly easy, and I was helped through my guild because the guild, they're just like, okay, we'll help you transition because they actually had a low on priests. So I was like, all right, whatever, I'm going to do it. So I ended up doing it, and then I loved PvPing. I loved World PvP, did the whole Torn Mill and South Shore, and also our server was kind of active when it came to PvP. Like even before arenas came out, we used to have this one guy, Rontu, Rogue, human Rogue. He used to go above and beyond just doing PvP, World PvP, and he went on the forums and he actually made, the Gurubashi arena.
Yeah.
He actually made for Horde and Alliance. He made brackets for 2v2, 3v3, and 5v5.
Oh.
And I think 8v8 too, or something like that. He had like another one that was higher up there. But he made brackets, and the server we participated in it.
Dude, that's awesome.
So yeah, that's what we did. So we
really
improvised. Cool. We improvised on it, and then people put in gold, and whoever the team won gold and such and whatever. So, and there was drama with it because I think there was like a couple times where the gold did not come through, or he just kept it, or something happened with it,
or someone cheated, or a rogue on stuff out of nowhere, and how'd that guy die from an ambush? They don't even have a rogue on their team. I don't know.
Surprisingly, it didn't happen too much.
Yeah,
surprisingly,
but
that's good. Yeah, that happened, and I started doing BGs, but I always surrounded myself with people that wanted to better themselves in the game. I always did. Ever since the very beginning, I was like, if I'm going to waste my time, I'm going to be spending hours playing this game. I'm going to learn how to play it, and I'm going to be around people that do know how to play it, or actually know how to play it better than others. So I just started surrounding myself with people that were were on top of it, people that could think a little bit quicker than the average person.
Right.
And I started doing BGs with them, and I helped a couple of them, kind of get up there. Once they implemented the Grand Marshal, I helped, I think like 2 or 3 of them get GM. And by the time I ended up helping them do it, I was already like almost Field Marshal at that time.
Wow.
And I was like, okay, I'm already Field Marshal, and the gear looks pretty nice anyways. Whereas like the middle or the beginning of BWL, I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna go for it. And then I was just like, you can help me if you want. And they're like, yeah, man, we love PvP and stuff. Let's do it. So it was like a group effort to go and to pretty much just smash it, just to have fun. And a lot of it was, talking to people. Even though we had long queues sometimes, that's the time that you would talk and you just bond with a group of people. That's what made vanilla was people mostly.
Yep,
And a lot of people forget that.
absolutely,
So what's kind of the strategy,
yeah,
as a priest, as a healer to get to Grand Marshal? Would you say what was your strategy?
To surround myself with, I guess you could say, above average players, players that love the PvP, and you just heal them. Really, just heal them. There's no real strategy. I got it through doing Warsong Gulch mostly,
Right.
and a little bit of AV. I never did the AV. I hated. I mean, I liked AV, but it was not like. Even if it was AV weekend, I just avoided it. I just did Warsong Gulch, and that's pretty much what we did. We loved it.
I love the idea of like Grand Marshal, High Warlord. I think, it's if that were to be, because like you really see people helping each other out to get there, and it's not like you said, it's not like you can just go there, grind it. I'm sure there were some people who did it on their own, but it must have been a lot harder.
You could, I mean, you do, but the thing is that's when you start having different types of people that hit Grand Marshal.
Right.
Like there was an alliance that's all that they wanted to do. They wanted to get Grand Marshal, and they were honor farmers. Those were the people that whenever you queued for AB and they had one person join to scout to see if there was a pre-made, and if there was no pre-made, they'd all join because they felt like oh man, let's just get our honor. This is easy. And then when they would see a pre-made, they would dodge. And to me, when I played, I did not want to surround myself with people that dodge. Because why? Because I felt embarrassed. I was like, why? Why am I? This is like when you're sitting here, you have to wonder. When you're sitting there and you're playing for hours and hours and hours, it's like you get tired of the same, like you're just farming these people that don't know how to play. You want to start playing with people that know how to play. So when you see those pre-mades, you're just like, yeah, let's do this, man. Let's see this.
Fun.
Let's get this done. And like the most fun I think I've ever played was against one of our rival Horde teams, and it was just so random. I think someone mentioned something about the team comp because we ended up running. I think it was 8 warriors, priest, and druid, and they ran with the same comp, and we ran against the same people.
Oh,
and I've never heard so many charges and executes going on at the same time. I was like, oh my god! I was like, I gotta survive longer than that priest. As long as I survive longer than that priest. Even if it was 1 second longer, I won. I was like, hell yeah.
Didn't that add so much to like the competition though? Like having, one server, how you see your rival like guild come up, and instead of just random players coming up, like how
you knew them.
Yeah, exactly.
You knew all of them. That's what made it better because whenever you killed that little foreign shit talker, man, you just you just want to just farm him, and you keep farming him like, yeah, you like that, huh? Yeah, who's the bitch now?
Take his insignia.
You start taking screenshots and you send it to the forums like, look, there it is, man. This is what happens. Like, nothing but mouth, but you're just mopping the floors.
Yep.
Must be nice. So that's another thing about having realm only queues, but I can see the argument with. I could see as to why they did the BGQs, but I feel like they went the wrong way with it. I feel like I kind of wish that they did give it a little bit of leeway. Like, why not just say you can have BG cross faction queues Monday through Friday or Monday through Thursday, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday is realm only. Like, I feel if they did that, they would have still kept.
Good idea.
People were like, they're happy about playing against their own. Their own realm, and I think people would log in more to play against their own realm. That's what I think. They didn't even give it a chance.
Maybe have like a little bit higher honor on the days that it's your own realm to make people want to play more, something like that.
Just something like that, yeah.
How do you feel about the balance between Battlegrounds and World PvP, though? Do you think that Battlegrounds killed World PvP? Do you think it was a combination of other factors?
No, not at all.
Okay.
Not at all. You have to farm anyways.
Right.
That's true.
Got to farm sometime. So... And that's like, how can I say it? When you farm too, it's the same thing. I mean, especially when you went to like Fellwood. Fellwood was pretty intense.
Fellwood, yeah.
They wanted to get the whipper root tubers and the herbs. They would go with like 4, 5, 6 people. So it was like you knew if you wanted a PvP there, you would just go there.
Fellcloth. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I love when warlocks used to like sit up on that tree. up in Northern Felwood, and you'd be running by, and they would dot you up, and yeah, that.
It was fun stuff. Like, yeah, you
Yeah.
couldn't avoid it. You could not avoid back then in vanilla. If you were an active person, like if you raided, you had to farm. Unless
Yeah.
you somehow found a way and you bought gold, which there were, you could do that. But if you were a normal player and you did raid, you had to farm. And when you had to farm, usually you're just like, hey man, who's farming?
Yeah.
Oh, hey, I want to farm, but there's too many people out there. Like, you want to join me, man? Like, all right, and you form like a 3 or 4. It's like I said before, when you're leveling, you farm and you have like just a 5 group. And whenever something happens or whenever someone says, hey man, I see like 2, 3 horde here. You guys want to come help? I'm like, yeah, man, let's go. It's like you start forming groups to help out, and that's when you start initiating having world PvP.
Right.
And it was pretty much unavoidable, I felt, when it was in vanilla, which was actually pretty nice. So
Yeah, I mean, so you also had a lot on the PvE side of things too. I think you said you got into Nax as well. You did
yeah,
some.
I mean, I wasn't like super hardcore. Like, I mean, I would assume that I was kind of, because I did go above and beyond, but the group that I was in wasn't as so much. And the thing is that a lot of people have to realize is that back then, unlike private servers have what? How many servers did they have? Like one,
Depending
one,
on
right?
the
Two.
like 2,
Well, that
3.
1, 2, as opposed to
Yeah.
like 30,
Yeah.
40.
Right.
Mhm.
And the population is a lot smaller. And not only that, when it came out, you had a big issue with, not really issue. I mean, it would be amazing if you had this again, which is guild loyalty.
Mm.
You had a lot of people that were good, that were stuck in family. I guess, if you're talking about in progression, they were shit.
Yeah.
They were not good, but they were, they were good players. They knew how to play. And the hardest part was trying to take them away from there and to add them to your raid.
Mm.
And another thing too is that when you guys, when you're raiding, there were alliances on your side that you would have beef with, you would butt heads with. So that means
Right.
that like we had 2 alliances that were on 4 horsemen. Had they have not had beef with each other, they could have merged together and they could have beat KT.
Mm.
But they had beef with each other, and that was never going to happen. So, and then same with like the older, the little family oriented and the middle guilds and stuff. They just,
Yeah.
a lot of them, they were just like, man, I love this guild. I'm not gonna leave. And even when somebody leaves, you're like, okay, why did he leave? What kind of, does he have drama? This and that. Everybody knew everything back then, and you couldn't just transfer until like, I think it was like Nax. Like Nax, you
Yeah,
could,
it
but
was-
you only had one chance to do it because I think it was like a 4-month cooldown
Yeah,
or
something
something
like
like
yeah.
that.
Hmm.
So you didn't have much of a chance anyways. So it was like,
Right.
it made it a lot harder than to actually clear that place, because the thing was that when Nax came out, because for me, in my experience, I cleared, in my guild, we were a guild that we cleared it, but it was like a couple months. Sometimes it was like 3 months. We cleared it 3 months before the new raid would come out. We would clear it 3 months before the new
Gotcha.
raid would come out until AQ40.
Mm.
We got AQ40. We almost got Cthulhu down, or Cthulhu, however you want to say.
Yeah.
We almost got him down, but then our raid leader, like, I don't know what his problem. He's like, I just want to focus on Nax. And it was like, dude, why don't we just finish this? He's like, no, I want to do
Right.
Nax. And then he's just like, all right, I guess we're just migrating to Nax, and we're doing a clear from the first boss in AQ all the way up to Emps. We don't do Vasidius or Oru. And we're like, we feel kind of a little incomplete, but
Yeah.
okay. And then we started doing Nax, and we ended up clearing, I think, like 5 bosses
Nice.
in Nax
Not
for
bad.
being in a
Not
family-oriented
shabby.
guild. Yeah, yeah, I feel like we did pretty well for, knowing how recruitment is or was back then as it is
Yeah.
now. Like now, it's like private servers, like, oh man, who wants to take down Lich King? It's like, yeah, everyone, man, everyone, yeah,
Yeah.
everyone's on the same. Everyone's on the same thought process.
Yeah.
Everyone's willing to farm and they're willing to do many hours to do that. As opposed to then, it's like, you had people that just did not want to put that time into it, and
Yeah.
that was a big thing back then. You jump from AQ40, you could kind of do like half consumables or whatever, and you'd be okay. But Nax, no, Nax, you need everything.
Hmm.
So
That's the thing. I think what we saw, like in vanilla, especially, there was a huge, if in my experience, like, a lot of people were just content with, leveling or, doing PvP. doing dungeons, maybe doing a couple. Like my experience was doing like a couple ZGs, and I was definitely a lot more casual in vanilla than I was casual in the sense of raiding, I guess, because I did play a lot, but I didn't really get serious in the raiding like
Well,
the way
rating was
you
your
were
PvP gear.
until BC.
Rating
No,
was
exactly.
almost your
Rating was your
PvP gear.
PvP gear. So
Almost.
my PvP gear was not that great.
Yeah.
So I was like, what was it? I'm sure you had some people because we talked about earlier how a lot of classes that are really good in PvP, like a lot of hybrids, great in PvP, might not be so good in PvE. So were there a lot of people in your guild that were like, doing a lot of PvP, but then when it came to time to raid, with what was the issue with like some paladins? Were they going holy, playing as Ret maybe in PvP, and then going holy to raid? Or
What we would do is in our guild was that if you were someone that like if you were a hybrid class, if you're a warrior and stuff, we would provide the respecs for you.
mm,
So we would provide that for you, and also like those that were because we would have a constant like 50 online and 53,
okay,
so we could keep switching. And those that were not in the raids were farming; they were always farming. So if you were not in the raid, you would always farm, and that would help provide gold consumables for those that were in the raid. Not obviously not all
Wow,
of
that's
the
pretty.
consumables for you, but it helps. Mostly it was more for like the main tank, the main healers,
yeah,
like stuff like that. But it would help out, and you'd
yeah,
have to show after the raid would happen, and if you want to get your DKP, you had to the raid leader would come back. You would have to show him what you farmed,
yep,
and he's like, okay, here you go. And some people just choose to say fuck it, they just buy it.
yeah.
It's a
So
pretty
A,
altruistic guild. I mean, that's
a
people
lot,
that.
well, a lot of serious guilds had to be like
yeah.
that
Yeah.
because it was, and that's. I mean, you do see that a little bit today, but it's nowhere near the way it was back in vanilla BC. I mean, vanilla especially with the way consumables were, but I
Well,
mean,
I'm sure people today can do it, but it's a different type of
it is.
preparation.
It's
It's
totally
just
different.
a lot of it's preparation. Another thing too was that you could not have back then in rating, you didn't have this one man team mentality
Yes.
because even if you were really good, even if you're really good, you made a kind of a small difference. You
Yep.
didn't make that big unless you were a healer. A
Yes.
healer, you made a difference. But
Yeah.
and yes, of course. I mean, I can't really say that so much because if you have a lot of DPS that does a lot of DPS, obviously it's going to be really good.
Mhm.
But it's not going to be game breaking too much.
I know what you mean by that mentality, man, because it
Yeah.
is all like I came from. I did a lot of mythic raiding in Legion. It was all about me. That's it. Like not myself, but a lot of other players. I can get the highest parse I can. Everyone else, screw them. This is all about me. Like raiding became like, yeah, you're doing it with other people, but it was all about you. And that's not what raiding was like when you were playing. It was mostly about the guild progressing.
And you would help. You would try to help people whenever you can,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. I mean, some people still try to
that's
do
how
it
it
today, but
was.
it is very
Oh,
rare.
they do. I'm sure they
Yeah.
do.
Yeah, they
But
do.
it's different.
It
That's
is
for
a lot
sure.
different. Yeah. So I wanted to talk about something that I know you have a really opinion that I want to talk about is add-ons. So I myself, I do use a few add-ons. I do, but personally, I feel like if there was one add-on that I had to pick, I could live without add-ons. But one add-on that I really do like is just having Luna raid frames. I do not like the frames. You have to take out of the friggin' raid thing and do that and all. For me, it's just the one thing. If I had to pick just one add-on, like I'm not. I hate, like you said. I heard you a Healbot. I hate Healbot. I think Healbot is one of the
Cheat.
stupidest add-ons that were ever made.
You're not
I
even playing the game. It's like playing Street Fighter with the
I
turbo
know, I know.
controller.
I completely agree. Completely agree about Healbot. I personally, though, I love like Luna uniframes. I just like to have nice, neat-looking uniframes, and honestly, I can live without anything else. What's your feeling on add-ons?
Um, Add-ons to me, it's uh, I don't know. That's like to me, I was never one for even a lot of people agree with that.
Hmm.
I mean, I understand it, but I think that if you're having someone going, dong, lift your hand up,
Yeah.
dong, cast this button,
Hmm.
dong, do this, dong, move there. It's like, dude, are you playing the game
Yeah.
or are you being babysat?
Yeah.
Like, you can't do this without mods or what's going on here? Like, I just feel like the more add-ons I felt that I had, the least that I was playing my character, and that's how I felt. I mean, all throughout my raiding career, and I've always been in pretty good. Ever since after vanilla, that stopped. Like me not full clearing stuff, that stopped. Immediately stopped. I was like, you know what? If I'm gonna spend time doing this, I'm gonna just clear it all. And a lot of them were like, you dude, you need to get DBM. I'm like, dude, no, I'm not. I'm not gonna get that. I don't give a fuck. I mean,
Yeah.
if I start dying a lot, then sure, then yes, I will. I will get DBM. If you're wiping because of me, I will get DBM. But that was not the case, and I did fine without it. And I was like, okay. And to me, when I raided, it felt a little bit more pleasurable. It felt more fun that you're actually, you have to remember when things are going in your mind. You're not sitting there being reminded and being. It's like, oh, I don't know. I never liked it. But honestly, I feel like if Blizzard is going down this path of if they do the 112, because then it to me, I think it provides a slippery slope of now it's like 112 in what? 112 itemization,
Exactly.
the talents. I mean, if they do just like everything, and I think they're not going to, that's no change. That's changes.
Right.
That's not no changes. That's changes. So if they're going to do changes, if they want to make vanilla a little bit more challenging, to me, I feel like if you have like I think they should do built-in add-ons. Like they just say, you know what are the most popular ones that are not going to change the game too much? Like to me, I feel like having mods like like bartender. Bartender is just like a UI bottom cleanup, right? With your buttons like bartender, and then what meters? Meters is fine, like a built-in Blizzard meters. 3D unit portrait raid frames like the Luna, kind of. I guess if you want to get the unit 3D, a messaging system like Wim but Blizzard.
Mm-hmm.
And coordinates for map, just coordinates, not like if they just had that and they just built their own, whatever on it, like their own personal. This is what we're going to provide you with, and you're not going to be able to add in any add-ons. I think that would make the game even better. That's what I feel. Like no heal bot, no CD timer, no auctioneer. Auctioneers, screw that thing, man. If you're gonna work the auction house, you need to start putting time into it, man, because you're screwing everybody else over.
Start shift clicking everything.
Right?
Yeah, man, what's ridiculous?
Oh man, auction house vanilla is like it takes so long. Mail too, sending mail is like.
I think you bring up a very good point, though. I think that integration of some quality of life. I think that I'm not saying that's something I agree with. I think that's something they may do because let's be realistic. Everyone's going to be downloading add-ons, right? Everyone's going to be doing it. So, except for maybe like you or some people who are purists, but most people are. And I'm not saying I want Blizzard to put add-ons in the game. I just think they may. I think what you're saying might happen. I think they may integrate some of the add-ons that they kind of integrated to WoW over the years that they've kind of realized people love.
But I don't want to log on and see a quest helper add-on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm not saying I want it either. I'm just saying that it's a possibility. It's a
I
possibility.
hope not.
I don't think they will.
Maybe not quest hypo. Because I think that screws up the classic experience. I think that
absolutely.
That's
it may, but I think the thing is though is that once you start adding in all these add-ons, you're gonna see so many. And then it's like, okay, how is Blizzard gonna discern what is Blizz like? That was what add-ons were there in vanilla that wasn't now. Like you start doing that, then what? You got to start hiring one or two people that just look at all the add-ons that are being added onto the game, and he's got to be up to date on what's accepted, what's not accepted. It's just like it just seems like too much of a pain. That's what I think.
Let's look at private servers as an example, right? We have a lot of add-ons that people use that are, most of them are either like debuff timers, raid frames. Trying to think of the other big ones, KTM, recount, chords. You have Atlas loot, Atlas, regular Atlas. Things like that. They don't seem too much different, for me than how I don't know. To me, a lot of them don't. A lot of the ones that are big, at least, aren't too game breaking in the sense. I would like to see, honestly, I would like to see Blizzard maybe just kind of completely have none of the old add-ons that work for like private servers work now, and then maybe people would have to make new add-ons for Classic. That might stop people from making too many. It might be, a lot, because these add-ons have been building from over time, a long time. You know what I mean? People made them. I'm sure you could probably tweak it.
Yeah, some of them are newer, but yeah, you're right. Some of them are. Like Questy and Loon are actually pretty new. believe it or not.
Yeah.
And also another thing that's kind of weirded me out a little bit is when I see these videos of private servers. What's up with all the DPS with all Grand Marshal weapons? Like all
well,
of them.
that could be
every single rogue, every
because
single
of the,
warrior. How is that possible?
could be the certain
think-
private server. It could be a pay-to-win private server. There are some.
One of the
Must have been.
weapons because it's at the 1.12. 1.12 is when you could get the all the Grand Marshal gear, right? Without being
What,
actual
regardless
Grand
of you
Marshal.
being Grand Marshal.
Yeah.
No,
Oh.
yeah, that was never a thing. I don't think that was never a
was
thing.
later vanilla or
Was
not?
it?
Yeah, I'm pretty.
If it was, it must have been at the very end. But
yeah, at the very
Perhaps.
end.
Like when you said there was arenas in the pre-patch, right? That's right before
Yeah.
Burning Crusade came out.
that was
there were arenas.
ridiculous.
Maybe,
Like,
I don't know.
I
But
thought
the-
that was stupid because it's like you see these people like doing like BWL and all this stuff, and they got like weapons that surpass and they go into Nax. Like, really, you're just giving out Nax level items,
Yeah, I don't agree with
or
that.
like pre-Nax because
Yeah.
we had people that were using that like through AQ40 going into Nax, and it was doing really good DPS. And they still use it, like even like they're doing like speed clears and Nax. They're still using the High Warlord stuff and the Grand
Oh,
Marshal
yeah.
weapons. Like what? That's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
And
Because back then, you also here's another thing too. Like back then, it was harder to have more Grand Marshals too, is because you can actually cock block people from getting it. you get more honor than them. You can actually prevent them from getting Grand Marshal. Then that's
Sure.
why they had a patch. That's why they had a patch earlier that made it easier for you to hit Grand Marshal and Field Marshal and stuff. Because people used to cockblock because they're like, man, I put all this time into it. We're just going to just make it harder for this person. Like if you don't like somebody and you're just like, you know what, I'm just going to play more so he can't get it for like a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks to a month. You
that
could
might
do
be,
that.
yeah, that might it might be the patch where they made it easier then too. Because I'm not sure, but I know there are a lot of people like you said running around with the Grand Marshal weapons and stuff like that, and what is it, the Field Marshal gear and all that. But
Yeah.
you see it more than you would see it on back in the day. You didn't
Well, I mean,
see
I
that
can
often,
understand.
yeah.
I can understand that more people doing it. Like if they were to have Classic again, because the gear, the weapons were excellent. So
Oh,
it's
yeah,
like I can see as to
absolutely.
why someone would do it
Yeah.
more now than what did before.
Yeah,
But to me, it was a little insane. I'm sitting there and it's just like
yeah.
I was PvPing with a very PvP oriented MPVE. This is like the Four Horsemen
Mhm.
Alliance, and they had like six. I think it was like 6 GMs that were in the guild, and that was considered like damn,
That
like
is pretty-
6.
That's
Yeah.
pretty amazing, yeah.
And to me, I'm sitting there, I'm watching these videos, and I'm seeing like 20, 25, or these people
Yeah.
with like high. We're like, yeah, right, get out of here. That made me like wonder a little bit, like
Also
is
depends
this,
on the
man?
private server.
Like,
Also
that's-
depends on the server.
that's
yeah.
the thing is too for me. It's like I never wanted to play like private servers because I felt like it would also take away what I experienced in vanilla, because I felt like I left vanilla sort of in a somewhat good stance. Like
Mm.
I left experiencing it without forgetting too much, and I experienced a lot. The only thing I did not experience, and if I were to do Classic again, the only thing that I wish that I would have done was to finish Nax.
Mm.
And you could say just finish, AQ40 all the way. And just pretty much that, really.
Would you play Priest again?
Yeah, of course.
Priest again? Nice.
Yeah, if you're reliving it, you got to do the same
Yeah.
thing.
So when
So-
Classic comes out, that's what you're doing. You're playing Priest, right?
Priest. Also, I was a Night Elf too.
Night Elf.
And
Okay,
some
so
people,
you go Night
and
Elf
that's
again?
another thing. If you do the 12 too, the 1.12, you're not getting the racial changes.
Yeah.
You're not getting the 45-second or 30-second Will of the Forsaken, which was broken beyond anything.
It was so broken.
That was so stupid. And the orc racial, which was like you were
Oh.
stupid to cheap shot, you were
Oh
stupid
my
to
god.
kidney shot.
Yeah.
It's like you're dumb if you did that. There was so many
Wait,
like overpowered stuff,
Yeah.
and also like Night Elf. A lot of people underplay that because
Dude,
it
Star
was more-
Shards.
Fear
Star
Lord,
Shards
yeah.
is good.
Star Shards was okay.
I mean,
Usually,
it's
you would want
very
to do that
bad.
as a Shadow Priest. You want to do it as a
Yeah.
Shadow Priest because if you get somebody like at like a quarter health and you pop Star Shards, you have to counterspell it. And if
Right.
you're getting at like half health, you can heal.
Right.
You can heal, and he can't counterspell you, and then you go back to Shadow and you just melt him.
But I think it's like the
So-
most mana efficient spell as a priest.
Yeah, it is, but it's that, and then you have Shadow Meld Charge. You
Yeah.
have Shadow Meld Aim Shot.
Yep.
All kinds of stuff. And the thing is that when you had the Shadow Meld, you can actually charge in combat. If you had a macro, you could charge as if you charged today. Like you charge
Really?
once, and then if you made a macro and you spammed it, you can actually charge someone again.
Didn't Swifty used to do that?
Yeah,
Yeah. I
yeah.
remember.
And a bunch of people copied him after doing that,
Yeah.
and it was like, dang, man, this
Dude,
is starting to be ridiculous. It's got 3 charges now. You got
Swifty started a lot. A lot of those like engineering was pretty big for people. But like Swifty made those first couple of videos where like tips and tricks and all that kind of stuff, and that shit got really popular after he made those videos. Like all his like little tips and tricks.
yeah.
And then I think that was the era of when things started to become like more cookie cutter. You started to see more people doing it, but before then it was kind of more only like certain people would know about it. A lot of people were just kind of in the dark. But it's interesting to see how YouTube played its toll on that.
And also another thing, when it came out of on my server, a lot of us felt, even though Nax, when it was released and when it ended, we felt that it was very short.
Oh yeah.
We felt that there was not enough time to do it because the raid was overtuned.
Yep.
Well overtuned, and Blizzard also promised us a lot of other content that should have been in vanilla. That was not. And see, that's another thing. If we're treading now on changes, because if Blizzard does this, if Blizzard goes down this route of changes, which means that they're going to make MC harder, and they're taking out itemization, all this stuff, that's changes.
All right.
If they're going down changes, I want to see patch 1.13.
I knew you were going to say
I
that.
want to see that because you know what? Honestly, when I played BC and stuff like that, I mean, yeah, BC was good. I played it, but Flying Mounts, man, there was a lot of world PvP back then. Only because of one thing. There was only a lot of world PvP in BC. It was because we just left vanilla.
Yeah.
We just left vanilla, and everyone PvP mentality. What's red is dead. That's pretty much what it was. And you know what? The best part, yes, the best part was the beginning when you got out of that portal and you went Hellfire Peninsula. Dude, I spent a week in Hellfire Peninsula. I didn't even level. We just went as a raid and we were just like, just fucking started camping everybody. We're just like, yeah, you better run in that Hellfire Ramparts portal. God. That's the only way you're going to level. So we started doing that, and it was so much fun. But you know what?
Insane, dude.
As the time progressed and as it went by,
I remember that.
It started feeling like nobody was really. It was like you get your little bird, you go down, you pick your flower, you jump up, and you fly away. And that's all you do. You do your dailies, and you just keep flying away. And it's like, well, there goes PvP. Fuck it.
Yep.
I'm done. This is getting ridiculous. You have to try too hard. What do I got to do? I got to sap you on your way down to
That's
get that.
That's a very interesting point you bring up. So to make world PvP survive, perhaps continue patching vanilla for that specific reason. Bring BC out, but you're saying perhaps.
I think what they should do is that they should bring. If they're going to do an experiment like that, I think they should make it a different. See, this is where it gets very crazy because then it's like they got to hire more people, maybe. Yeah. And if they provide another server, and this is like, okay, we're going to provide the patch. You can keep your old vanilla, but we should provide it when you have like the Dragon Isles raid. The Karazhan should have been. Karazhan should have been 60. Hyjal. Considering mostly Karazhan because come on, you get the ATS. Yeah. Like, who wants to have a
Thank you for pronouncing ATS correctly, by the way.
Who wants to have a staff that portals to a beginning raid in BC?
Right. Yeah.
Like, come on, this is ridiculous. Like the most powerful guy in vanilla, it's gonna be a starting now in BC. This is stupid.
Let's go to Karazhan.
Yeah, but honestly, Karazhan was kind of cool. It was kind of cool. But you know what? If it's to follow, if that Karazhan, what they provided us in BC was supposed to be after Nax, I'm glad they didn't put that in because Nax is a hard one to beat.
Oh yeah,
it's a hard one to beat, and I think the only one that would beat it would be Dragon Isles. But if you do the Dragon Isles, then you're not following the ATS.
Yeah,
with your legendary. Because look, you got to think about it. How long did the ATS last for? Didn't last for that long.
Not long. So a lot of people they saw Nax came out, and then like BC was announced, and it was like, why even do it? people were, I mean, there was such a
Most people that said that
was
was most of them that were in like a family-oriented guild, or they
right.
were like kind of in the middle, and they were just like, you know what, we're creating too much animosity between each other because it's so frustrating that this content requires so much time to actually prepare for. On top of knowing how to play your class, they just gave up.
Yeah, and the time too. There just wasn't that much time to like for a lot
Well,
of like
there was
normal guilds to
no, there was
progress
enough
through.
time, but the fact that they made it from a you had to have full consumable type of a raid, that was new.
Right.
4 tanks for a fight. 8 tanks, excuse me.
No, 8 tanks.
8 tanks, yeah, not 4.
Yeah,
There
you
was a
had the
lot of
steel
yeah.
tank.
There was a lot of gates for people to get through. What's not gates is the wrong word. Thresholds that you had to get past, and mostly you said most family-oriented guilds aren't going to be able to pass those thresholds.
That on top of even if you were in another guild, it was hard to steal somebody from that other guild without having too much problems,
Exactly.
Yeah,
etc.
unless the
It's a lot
guild just
harder.
wasn't doing.
Yeah, so we're gonna have to wrap up here soon, unfortunately, because we can talk all day with you. But
Yeah.
the thing is like, so one question I want to talk about is, how far can Blizzard go with changes until they F it up to the point where you won't play it? What is your threshold? Is it
My
LFG? Is it?
threshold.
Sorry, go ahead.
How
Like what?
much?
Like, what if they incorporate LFG? Is that a no go for you? Would you just say F it, I'm not playing?
Knowing me, I would probably still play it, but if they did come with a lot of other change, like LFG, honestly was okay. Like for me, it was okay, and the only reason why is that is because when I was a raider, I was deep into raiding, and I wasn't thinking about that stuff anyways. But if they start veering off the path of start adding in stuff like you said, like LFG, or it'll just make me very unhappy with Blizzard. I'll still play, but maybe I'll just be like, you know what? Do I really want to put time, like as much time into it? I'll just stick to PvP only, and that's it. That's all I would do. I wouldn't put too much time into it if they just start veering off too much. However, if they do changes, they better do the 13. I hope they do.
That's really interesting. A lot of people who like in your position who played vanilla from start to finish did most of the content. A lot of it have a lot like people like my brother and I have kind of different things that you want to see. Like you really want to see like a patch 1.3, and it's really interesting because like I've talked to other people who were in kind of the same position you were, and they really wanted to see it like a patch 1.13. Me, I think it'd be cool. I really do. Don't get me wrong, but like I want to play BC. I know there were a lot of things that I had some things, issues with BC as well. I think, of course, flying mounts were like a double-edged sword. Yeah, they're cool. You're flying, but then also the world PvP is getting pretty much. I mean, it still happened, but not in the way it did. But also, I loved the raiding experience in the Burning Crusade. For me, it was personally like when I really, became, I'd say, a good raider. I guess,
Well, if you have to think about it too, the patch 112 was the precursor to the talents in BC.
Yeah.
Imagine playing level 60 with 70 talents.
Yeah.
And then they have to see. Then it's like, how are they going to start making raids that are built for the 60, the 40 mans? Yeah, I can understand it.
Yeah.
But to me, it's like for someone that has played in its entirety, and I remember everything, almost everything. We felt that we've been cheated out because there's so much content that they said that they were going to put out there. And they fell through.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
And if you think about it, if they do add the patch 1.13, that would create people maybe to provide more revenue for Classic. They don't have to keep going with patch 14, 15, 16, 17, but they just finish it off so the people that really wanted to play and complete Nax, they can use that Nax gear to play the next raid, and that's good.
Yeah, I think it's pretty interesting. It could, maybe work in a way that we haven't thought of, in a way that maybe they can figure something out where, they just have a certain server that does that or something like that. But,
and it's a leg up above private servers.
That's true.
That's true.
I think
something that private servers can never do.
No, they can't. They have no way. Yeah, if they can't make canon, it's not there, right? So I think it's something we need to hit on maybe in a year or two after Classic is out. We need to maybe talk about this again. But I think for now, let's just get this damn game out. Let's get it out the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
without things like transmog, LFG achievements, crap like that, pet battles. Let's make it what it was. And
I'm pretty sure we're going down the right road so far.
so far,
That's for
there
sure.
still is a lot of
That,
gray
yeah,
area though,
yeah,
but we're getting there. So real
yeah.
quick before we end, I just want to say, guys, if you're listening to this, like Trust is a very very brand new content creator. He only made a few things, and if you want to check his stuff out, I put his name underneath his portrait. However, there are more than one Trust TV on YouTube. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pin a comment onto this video with his actual URL. Make sure to go to his channel, listen to his stories. He's a very good storyteller, and most of his is unscripted stories. So that's what he does. So check that stuff out.
Give him a subscribe. Yep.
Yeah, and hit him subscribe and some likes. Also, at the bottom of your screen, you say, want to be on DefTalk, email us at melderon.gaming@gmail.com. You do not have to be a content creator or a streamer to be on DefTalk. We like people to come from the community that have zero experience with content creation because, like, Trust is a brand new content creator. He has a lot of experience in the game, just doesn't make a lot of content. We don't care about that. We care about your experiences and your opinions. So please email us if you want to be on the show.
Yes. Trust, thank you so much, man. It's really, like I said, I really love talking with people who have the experience in vanilla that you have because it's really, like I said, Melderon and I missed out on a lot of the beginning of vanilla, and it's really interesting to hear your point of view and hear, things that were a lot different and how that's, a big reason why we wanted to see different way for Classic to go with the 1.1 or 1.2 start, but I guess we got to be happy with what we're getting. So, but thank you so much, Trust, for coming out.
Mm-hmm. Just remember, don't be you guys don't have to grasp on everything that they come and give to you. And if you guys really want to see 1.1, it's still not done yet. I mean,
Yeah, that's true.
say something, speak your mind, because just know that if they do this, if they do the 1.12, you'll never ever see the 1.1 ever again. You'll never have a chance. If you have to wait an extra year, you guys got private servers. That's okay. So it's up to you guys. But thanks for letting me come on, and it's been a pleasure, guys.
Thanks for asking to be on, and yeah. Go ahead, Matt. Defcamp, do your thing.
Guys, if you like this video, please leave a like, subscribe. We did a little deal with YouTube. You no longer have to give us your social security number, but we do need a sample of your blood type. So if you could send that into our email address, that'd be good. Thank you. No, just kidding. Yeah, guys, we got a whole bunch of different Def Talks. You want to check them out. Super Plate Brothers interviews. We have a series with Melderon. He does vlogs. Some other cool stuff if you guys want to check it out. But until next time, also go to our Discord and please be a member of our Discord if you want to get more information about what we're doing, upcoming videos, and our Twitter. Those are two great ways to stay in touch with us and be part of the whole.
Don't forget to check out Trust TV's channel.
Yep. Yes, please do that, guys. But until next time, this is Defcamp
and Melderon and
Trust.
Signing off.
Peace, guys.
See ya. Keep on bonding and grinding, baby.
See you guys later.
See ya.